What is up, everybody? Zach and Kieran here from the Coffee N KOs Crew, and an impromptu live stream. We had some questions yesterday on Twitter and within the chat when we were doing our preview show live stream. And it was just at that point, we were almost 2 hours in. We didn't really have the time to answer them. So we decided we'd do a live stream today, answer any questions. And, I have a good amount of time, so I think that we can get through a lot of discussion in this. So, but the one thing that was asked yesterday that we didn't actually get a chance to answer, it was on Twitter from Frazier Robertson, and he asked, "Why do you think the UFC struggled?" So he kind of worded it weird, but he said, "Why do you think the UFC struggled with Demetrius Johnson when he was a flyweight champion?" I'm thinking like with that, it's about promotion. Is more so what he's asking. And, for my thing is, Mighty Mouse is a very quiet guy. Like he's not a guy, like his personality is not one that is going to sell, tickets. It's his fight style. Like if you're a fight fan, you're going to watch Demetrius Johnson because of his skill set and how good he is. And also at the time, 125 was not a very deep division. Like it was just a year ago. A year ago, we're talking about that division getting cut. And then it was almost like right after Mighty Mouse had gone to one that this influx of talent at 125 has kind of made it exciting. So that's also part of the reason why he was kind of hard to sell, is because other than Cejudo, there was really no one else in that division really giving him any fits. He was just running through everybody because it was a very watered down division.
Yeah. I mean, also you have to look at, I think it's a combination of a couple things. I don't think Demetrius Johnson was really one for promoting. I don't think he was like bad or incapable of being entertaining outside of it. Like the dude has a Twitch stream, people watch. He's a pretty nice guy, but you're also looking at the 125 division where there wasn't very much excitement in the division. I mean, you look at 135, you got guys like Corey Sandhagen knocking people out. You got Rob Font knocking people out. You got stoppages happening. You look at Demetrius Johnson run as flyweight champion. I mean, he beat John Dotson. That was like the one guy that was finishing people, but John Moraga, Joseph Benavidez, Ali Bagotinov, Chris Carriasso, who was like ranked number 8 whenever he fought him, Kyoji Horiguchi, John Dotson, and then he beat Henry the first time. And then you got Tim Elliott, Wilson Hayes, Rainbow. Like these guys weren't going out there and stopping people every single time. I feel like in other divisions, you have contenders that come up and everyone's excited to see them go up against the champ because they've been on this dominant streak. But I think DJ was just so active and so dominant that nobody really got a chance to build up that resume to get people interested. It was just like, oh, DJ's just going to beat another guy, Even whenever the Cejudo fight happened, everyone was more hyped up about DJ possibly fighting TJ Dillashaw than actually rematching Cejudo, But I think that's the reason why he wasn't really the big star, which is crazy because you think activity as a champion is something great. But I think you're starting to see some of the same issues in some other divisions. So at 155, even though Khabib's a draw because he's already touched that mainstream audience, I think if he was an active champion, you would have the same issues. You'd have guys that were ranked 7, 8 going up against him because he just can't find any other competition,
Well, I think for Khabib, too, I feel like it was really after the Conor fight that he took off. I feel like the casual fan didn't really know Khabib prior to the Conor fight, although he was the champion. It was just one of those things where, the casual fan, Khabib's fight style is not one that appeals to the casual fan typically. He's not knocking guys out. He's, a grueling type guy that will drag. I feel like he purposely drags out the fight more than a round, 2 rounds to just show people like, yeah, I'm just a monster and I can go 5 rounds, wrestle the hell out of you. I don't care. Like, because Khabib is just, he's on another level. And then as far as the Mighty Mouse, I love, he's one of my favorite fighters of all time. He was like the one guy I feel like that when I first started watching MMA, like he was a guy that he was almost must watch for me because his fight style was so good, so fast. But I agree. He's not a guy that really markets himself. He's a very kind of just more quiet guy, goes about his business.
About his work. That's it.
Yeah. And for me, that obviously doesn't play in the UFC. That to me, like there are guys like, Tyron Woodley's another example where he's not he wasn't a very like outspoken champ. He was more quiet. Dana White can't stand Tyron Woodley.
No.
I'm not saying there was bad blood between
Well, I think
Mighty Mouse
Tyron
and
Woodley
Dana,
also
but
thought he was bigger than what he actually is. I mean, he still does. He still thinks he's a huge draw, which he's just not. But
but I would love to see Mighty Mouse come back now. I think that, especially in the state of the 125 division, I think that now would be like, let's say he came back and he beats Figueiredo and he was to beat those guys, like that would cement his legacy without it. I mean, he's already a Hall of Famer, but it would without a doubt cement his legacy because, I feel like the 125 division is as good now as it ever has been.
Yeah. And that's the thing though, too. I think you saw the division evolve to his level. And that happens with every division that has a dominant champion, I mean, except for like 205. I don't think anybody developed to get to that level, but you have certain champions that you think just aren't going to lose anytime soon. Like Robert Whitaker. I mean, whenever he won the belt, who thought he was, I think everyone thought Yoel was the person with the best chance to beat him. And then fast forward a year or two, everyone is competing in that division at the top. I think it's unfortunate because he did leave at a time when the division just got really good. I mean, Henry Cejudo's growth from the first fight to the second fight is insane. I mean, like he's if he comes back right now, I think he's one of the top pound for pound fighters in the world. Henry Cejudo is insanely talented. I know a bunch of people hate him for the cringe stuff, but I love it.
The thing with him too, he got a late start in MMA. Like you go from the Olympics to like the first time around against Mighty Mouse, it was like that was still new to the sport. Henry Cejudo, he's evolved to a complete mixed martial artist. Like he's a totally different fighter from the first time they fought to the second time they fought to now. He's even a better fighter. So I still think. I don't know. Me personally, I feel like Henry Cejudo is better than Mighty Mouse. I feel like if they ran it back, I'm pretty sure Mighty Mouse would probably lose to Henry Cejudo if they ran it back again. But
I don't see DJ. Like, cool story, bro. Just said DJ said on Brendan Schaub's food truck diarrhea that he'll finish his career in one championship. I don't see Henry. I don't see DJ coming back to the UFC. I would love to see it because this is the best competition pool for him. But I just think that ship has sailed. He's all about just making his money. Yeah, he just wants there. Yeah, he just wants to make his money and then go. Which is, I think, whenever he retires, he's going to be looked at as almost a forgettable all-time great.
Yes,
I mean, the only fights that he lost in the UFC were to an Olympic gold medalist who transformed himself into one of the top pound for pound fighters ever, and bigger guys like Dominic Cruz. And he was still fighting early on when he was defending his title with a full-time job. Like that's like, imagine a UFC champion with like, he's basically doing fighting as like a side hustle, like, I don't know. DJ's incredible, but I think there'll always be a little bit of a stain on his resume just because the competition that he was going against in retrospect doesn't look very good. You know,
well, especially like when you say about Cejudo, like what I said about Cejudo, like the first time to the second time, Cejudo evolved so much to beat him.
Exactly.
It's like, I totally agree. I mean, there are things that he's done like that. Was it Henan Barral that he threw the arm bar up in midair? Like,
oh no, yeah, Ray Borg. Ray Borg,
that's who it was.
Threw him and then caught it off. I mean, he's insane.
Still one of the greatest like transitions ever. Like that was just ridiculous.
Yeah, he subbed Kyoji Horiguchi in the very last minute of the fight he was dominating. Like the very last second. I mean, he's an all-time great, but I don't know. I don't see him being that marketable. He's just
I agree.
Yeah.
Fraser Robertson also had another question, which I don't know if you can speak to this. I haven't really seen much of one championship, if I'm being honest, but he said he thinks that one championship does a far better job at fighter walkouts than the UFC does. I haven't seen one championship enough,
fighter walkouts. I know they do weight cutting better than we do.
Yes, I have heard that.
UFC. Yeah, I mean, it's because they don't allow like drastic weight cuts, but I don't know. I haven't seen a one championship walk-in. I would assume so, though. I mean, I like those Pride style walk-ins better. I hate Bellators, though. They just somehow find a way to make everything cringy. But I'm sure they do.
Bellator does like the WWE style walkout. I feel like.
I don't know. I like the UFC style walkout. It's like less WWE and more boxing type for the UFC walkout. It's just I wish there was more freedom as far as theatrics were concerned for these fighters. Like I want to see Henry come out on a freaking crown, like on a table with a crown on his head.
Like so
people just carrying him out like with a crown, and he's just like Prince Naseeming it. Like I think that would be great.
You're all in on the Izzy crumping. Like
oh yeah, 100%. Let
that,
them do whatever they want. You know, let them. I'm all like, let them wear whatever they want. Let them do whatever they want. Just let them be themselves. I don't care. I was just like, wow, he really just came out dancing in front of the largest crowd in UFC history, and then won the belt after that.
You know what's funny? If he would have lost, though, everyone would be, well, if he didn't dance before the fight,
everyone would have made a huge deal about that.
Yeah, so it was a good thing he won because that would have been the big talking point. Like he was more worried about dancing than he was fighting.
Yeah, of course they would have. Everyone tries to make. Everyone.
We're talking about like premier athletes who train and run ridiculous amounts, and a 20-second dance sesh is what would have caused him to lose the fight.
Exactly. It's technique and preparation is what would have made him lose the fight. But yeah, I don't know. I thought that was a huge coming out party for Duke, but that's just I don't know. I like one championship though. For the one card that I did watch back when Eddie Alvarez, I think he got beaten by it was freaking crazy.
I'm pretty sure him and Sage Northcutt both lost their debuts, and then it was
Sage Northcutt lost bad.
Mighty Mouse is the only one to win, I believe.
Yeah, he's the flyweight like champion. He won like the flyweight Grand Prix.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Man, Sage Northcutt.
Jesus.
What a disappointment.
I mean, I blame his dad. He kind of had him just he had him doing shit that he just wasn't ready for. I mean, yeah, you're explosive, but you are nowhere near an elite striker. Especially like I don't know what they were thinking booking him against Cosmo. That was stupid. He got his fucking face broken. That was tough. But,
yeah. Another question we had yesterday is future champs of the division. So I mean, I'm gonna pull up UFC.com here just to go through it all. But
I can share it if you want me to.
Yeah, you could do that too. I mean that's tough. That's tough. Like, are we talking like within the next couple of years? Are we talking like new prospects? Like that's a full question.
Yeah. Future UFC champ. I don't know.
I mean, I'm a firm believer that Davison Figueiredo is going to be a champ for a long time, unless the weight cut starts becoming so bad that he decides to move divisions. Because he has had weight cut struggles before. So that's kind of tough. I mean, there's a guy
I do think Davison Figueiredo has some weaknesses though, and you kind of see that like against Brandon Moreno when he's not able to just take you out with his pressure and power. You start seeing some weaknesses in that game. So yeah, I don't know. I really like Askar Askarov. I know he just beat Joe B, who's been brutalized in his last 3 fights, but I like his style. I like his size for that weight class. I think he gives a lot of guys issues just because he's so big. He's such a good wrestler. Also, he's Russian. You just can't bet against these Russian guys anymore.
Yeah. 2025 is tough. I do like Askarov. Another one of those Russian guys that just can wrestle and basically do everything. I like Royval. Royval's chin, though, that's a big question mark for me. So I don't figure. The thing is with Figueiredo is he's just massive for 25. I think that's what it comes down to. I mean, he's just a huge dude. So I feel like 25 for me, Figueiredo's a guy that can hold on to the belt for a while. Askarov.
He's got to get through that rematch with Brandon Moreno, though. The Brandon Moreno's like I think the top 3 are the only 3 with a chance to take that belt, in my opinion. I think there's a big gap between those top 3. Yeah, I think there's a big gap between those top 3 and the rest of the division.
Now, what if Garbrandt moved down to 25 to fight Figueiredo?
I'm picking Cody. I've been saying this for a little bit. I think Cody gives all if he can make 125 healthy. You're talking about a dude that's 5'8" with way better wrestling acumen than any of them outside of maybe Askar Askarov, and the speed and power to match. I don't know. He's more technically proficient than Davison Figueiredo is too. I thought Cody was going to win that matchup. I was very excited for that matchup because I think everyone thought Davison was just going to walk through anyone. But I think everyone was convinced that Davison was like better than Henry or something. I didn't see that ever. And then also you see some chinks in the armor. Brandon Moreno took him down multiple times. That's the same way that Formiga beat him before he got cut. Thank God. I couldn't stand Formiga. But yeah, I mean, Cody has a lot of tools. I mean, he has the wrestling capability to hold Davison down. He's got the boxing to match with Davidson, and he's also bigger. Like, everyone makes a big deal about Davidson's size. He'd be drastically outmatched in the size department against a guy like Cody. Cody's 5'7", 5'8". Like, that's a big dude. Davidson's 5'5". Like, I don't know. I thought Cody Garbrandt. I think he, out of the 135ers, if he was to drop back down, I think he would have. He would won the flyweight title. I don't see anyone in that division beating Cody. I'm being honest. If he can make it healthy, I think he'd be champion.
Even with the chin, you think the weight cut would affect the chin even more?
I think it definitely would. I'm not saying it wouldn't, but then again, he has speed to match with these guys. And as much as I like Davidson, technically, he's not as crisp as Cody. I mean, but also, if he hits Cody one time, it's over. It's like if you hit Cody once and he starts seeing red, Cody's gonna Cody, you know. But I think if he can, that's the biggest thing. If you can make the weight healthy, I think he beats everyone in the division. Yeah, that's the big part. If he can't make it healthy, then the chin's gonna be gone, and he can't do anything about it.
And if we're talking future champs, I know he's already been a champ, but if Cejudo comes back,
Cejudo beats all of them.
He could very well be 25 champ. I think this is the other thing that
Cejudo walks through them. I'm not lying. Cejudo
I would love to see, and only this matchup, Cejudo Volk, because it's more the height thing. Like, I think Cejudo obviously fights anyone else at featherweight, he's gonna get murked because they're all much larger than him.
Yeah,
but Volkanovski's a thick featherweight, but he doesn't have the height.
Yeah.
So I would kind of be interested in that, but outside of that, I don't like, because I know that Cejudo's been talking about that. I don't really like any other fight at featherweight for him. But at bantamweight and flyweight, Cejudo is a problem. Who's to say he doesn't come back and get some fights? Because you got to throw him into the mix here.
I'm being honest. I think I want to see the biggest fight that I want to see at 135 and down. I want to see Jan versus Cejudo so bad. I want to see it so bad. You're not going to go throwing around an Olympic gold medalist like he was against Aljamain Sterling. Mm-hmm. I mean, after seeing that performance from Aljo, I don't think that Aljo would be able to beat Henry. Not at all. You're not going to get him to the ground. And I think what people underestimate is just how fast Henry Cejudo is.
Oh yeah.
He's the only guy to be able to get in the pocket and trade quickly with DJ. He's so fast. He's so damn fast. And he's so well calculated. Like he's very calculated. Like he thinks everything through. His camp is insane. He has like 15 guys that devise a game plan for him. If you look at his camp, they literally sit in a war room just with him. Like, he's the one fighter that they're focused on. Yeah, exactly. Cejudo makes championship adjustments. You
saw against Marlon, he gets rocked against Marlon, and then it was just, the rest was history. Like, after he gets rocked, he's just like, screw this. Like, I'm going to totally change it up, and then gets the dub. Like, it was that's where I think Cejudo separates himself from, like, John Jones. Same thing. Like, they're not guys that they get it. They have a game plan going in, but if it's not working, they change it on a dime. And that's one thing that I kind of like am critical of, I talk a lot of shit about in fights, is like, if a guy is doing the same thing the entire fight and it's not working, that drives me crazy. Because it's like if you shoot for 10 takedowns and you landed one, it's not, or you shot for 5 and it's not working. Like, you're not getting them. Like, something needs.
You're just holding on to the clinch. You're just holding on to the clinch, or up against the wall.
It just, like, I look at Ryan Spann that lost to Johnny Walker. Like, that's the prime example. Like, you're sitting there and just wearing elbow after elbow, and you just decide, okay, I'm gonna stay here. Like, why? It's not working. So, but that's where Cejudo and John Jones, kind of those two come to mind, where they change up their game plan mid-fight, and it's just it's insane. Yeah,
exactly. It's the championship adjustments. They just being able to do it later and later. It's hard.
I gotta ask for bantamweight, where do you sit? Because so these are kind of two of the younger guys, so I'll talk about them. Rob Valashvili and Kyler Phillips. Younger dudes. Those are probably the two youngest dudes in the bantamweight division. Rob's got that crazy wrestling background.
Kyler's got the striking.
Kyler's got the striking. So those two are pretty exciting to me. I think eventually you'll see Frankie Edgar's eventually going to be out of 7. Pedro Munoz is really good, but he's older. Rafael Sunsao is older.
Yeah.
Chito Vera will be all 15 here soon. Yeah. So I really like those two guys a lot.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at bantamweight, it's first of all, it's absolutely loaded. So there's a bunch of guys that, given the fight, could win the belt. When I look at Marab, he's got that wrestling factor that you haven't seen it been stopped yet. But then again, you have a bunch of guys that you haven't seen him against yet. Like you haven't seen him up against those elite wrestlers at the top of the division. Granted, he wrestles with Aljamain Sterling. He trains with him. He goes against elite guys in camp every single time he goes out there. I'm interested to see what'll happen there. Kyler Phillips, I love his striking. I think he's very flashy, but I do think he's hittable. He's hittable at times, and I think sometimes it's a give and take. And I think as soon as he gets up towards the higher part of the division, I think he's going to give some and he's going to take some, and maybe sometimes he's not going to be able to deal with it. I think he's a top 10 fighter though. I think he'll end up being around that 5 to 8 range whenever he gets fully developed. Actually, a fight that I would love to see, if Sean O'Malley gets past Thomas Almeida this week, I want to see him versus Kyler Phillips. I think that would be an insane matchup. That would be a great matchup.
Similar styles.
Yeah.
Kyler Phillips is so light on his feet, man. That last fight, I mean, he just literally floats in and out, and it's just, I mean, he's very good.
Yeah, he spins, he floats in and out, he kicks at every level. He's nice. At 135, even Sean O'Malley's not ranked, and I think he has capabilities of being one of the best strikers in this division. Oh yeah, O'Malley and Kyler do train together. I forgot about that. Yeah, they both train at the MMA lab.
Damn.
Well, there you go. I mean,
maybe they'll spar and start fighting each other, and they get mad, and then we see the fight happen.
I know, right? We could get a film of it, But yeah, I mean, when you look at the division, I think Marlon Moraes, I'm pretty out on him. I think he's been figured out. He's just kind of folds whenever that pressure starts getting put on him. Frankie Edgar, he's older. I thought he could have made a run in this division about 3-4 years ago. But now it's just, these guys have developed too much to have anything. Pedro Munoz is essentially 135 Vicente Luque. Like, he'll just walk you down and swing. Yeah. But at this weight class, there's some guys that'll really deal with it.
The thing is, he doesn't really have the put away power though, Munoz. Like, he throws tons of volume, but he doesn't put anyone away. I feel like all his fights go to decision.
I mean, to put out Garbrandt, because Garbrandt was throwing like an idiot, but that was like it. Dominic Cruz, I'm out on Dominic Cruz. I think it's unfortunate because the dude got his prime wasted by injuries. He didn't look. He looked a step slower.
But I feel like his style doesn't play anymore. I feel like against the good guys, like at the top of the division, his style.
Everybody has footwork now.
Yeah,
everybody has footwork. Before, everyone was like plotting. It was wrestle boxing. It's like everyone fought like Cody Stamen fights. Like like just I'm gonna plod forward and wing hooks and wrestle you when I can't. He had the perfect style for stopping MMA from 2010 to like 2016. It is what it is. I mean, but then you forget. A lot of people forget Dominic Cruz beat TJ Dillashaw.
Yeah,
everyone was like, once TJ won the belt from Cody, they're like, oh, TJ's the bantamweight GOAT. I'm like, y'all not forget he lost to the same dude in the weight class. Yeah, that like that you're claiming he's better than. Like, I don't know, but. Yeah, those guys I just don't see challenging for a title anymore. But then you can start getting to the top of the division. I mean, Peter Yan, obviously he's like the uncrowned champ right now. Aljo's pretty much a paper champ, but you won't hear that from me, That's my champion. That's your champion, That is your UFC bantamweight champion.
I really think, maybe not Sterling, but I really think Jan, Sanhagen, Garbrandt, Font, and Sterling, like I think those guys, we're going to see a lot of them. Like I think that I think at any moment in that division, like I think Jan or Sanhagen are the best in that division. But I think like with those fights, I feel like anything could happen. I think Jan is probably a step ahead of most of them, but like I feel like with the power that most of them possess and they're pretty well rounded.
I think he is, but I don't see Jan outstriking Corey Sandhagen.
Exactly. Yeah.
The thing is, can he get Sandhagen to the ground when Sandhagen's not initiating the grappling exchanges like Aljamain Sterling is? I think Jan's an incredible wrestler, but can he get Sandhagen to the ground if he really wants to? Because I don't see anyone in this division outstriking Corey Sandhagen.
Same.
You need someone with the length and size of him. It's tough, and it's
not fair. He's in that weight class.
Exactly.
He's 5'10", 5'11", like. Absurd at 135.
He's just too big. I think Cody Garbrandt can beat anyone on his good day. Anyone. Outside of maybe Corey Sandhagen, I think Corey Sandhagen beats him. I'm not gonna lie.
Dude, we chose
he's too
Sandhagen.
technical.
If you're going to talk future champs, like I do think Sandhagen could be our bantamweight champ by the end of the year. I really do.
I'm so excited for this fight against TJ Dillashaw. I mean, shit, if TJ Dillashaw comes back and beat Corey Sandhagen, who's to say he's not ready for a title? I mean, who's to say he's not at the top of the division? You know, I don't see that happening, but I mean, who's to say he's not? And then also you got Jose Aldo there. Imagine a world where Jose Aldo's number 5. I think everybody's out on Jose Aldo, like, oh, he's old. He's looked the same through all of these matches. The only fight that I think he looked really bad in was the Conor fight, and then the fight against Volkanovski. He just couldn't get off the fence. I was like, man, that doesn't look right.
My thing is with him is like we always talk about evolving. I feel like he hasn't like everyone's caught up to how Jose Aldo fights.
Yes, but at the same time, if Jose Aldo and Rob Font fought in a 3-round fight, I'm taking Aldo. If Jose Aldo fights Cody Garbrandt in a 3-round fight, I'm probably taking Jose Aldo. I'm not gonna lie, I'm taking Jose Aldo. I mean, it's the 5-round stuff that he just hasn't fixed. I mean, it's the cardio, man. So did he just say Khabib would have lost to Charles Oliveira?
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
I wouldn't say his body and chin are gone. I mean, he went 5 rounds with Peter Yan. I mean, he got messed up in the late ones because he started tiring out, but I mean, you're talking about a dude that ate a flush head kick right off the bat from Marlon Moraes, like, and just kept fighting. I wouldn't say like he's. I mean, he's been God to think he's only 31 or 32 or whatever it is I don't think he's washed up. I just think everybody's caught up to him. Like you said, like it.
The game of MMA is just evolving so much that these older guys, like, it's just. You know, like John Jones is like one of the only guys who's been in it for so long that is still competing with these younger dudes. Stipe too. Like it's just one of those things where like those guys are evolving, and it seems like the other older people are not. It's you know, that's just the way it's working.
Yeah, I mean Jose Aldo, if he had cardio, imagine.
Yeah,
people forget he was beating Peter Yan at the early part of that fight. He was beating him early on in that fight. I don't know. It's interesting. The best fight in MMA now is Cyborg versus Nunes too. Nathan Jones is a troll. This is so funny.
We're gonna get some of Nathan Jones stuff on here, but I want to finish these future champs quick so we can go to featherweight. I want to see Max be champ again. I
think Max is the champion right now. I don't think he lost that second fight to Volkanovski.
Me neither.
But I mean, Max is definitely going to be a future champ. Zabit has the opportunity to, if he can just fix his cardio issues. Nobody's beating him. You're talking about someone that stood toe to toe and outboxed Calvin Kattar before Max did. I mean, everybody forgets about that fight because he tired out late. But I mean, if he can fix his cardio issue, I don't see anyone in this division beating him. He's 6'2" with Dagestani level wrestling and insane kickboxing. I think, Yair Rodriguez has ran from him for 4 years.
I hate Yair.
Yair Rodriguez has literally run from a match. And I don't say that often. I don't like saying people are running from matchups. But if you find a way, you literally got cut because you didn't want to take the fight. You know what I'm saying? Then it gets booked and then you pull out. Then it gets booked again and you pull out. Then it gets booked again and you pull out again. Like, come on, man.
I love this division because it's just full of like just people who love wars. Like Josh Emmett's probably never going to be a champ.
Yeah.
Calvin Kattar, I don't know. We already kind of saw
Jeremy Stevens
like guys that'll just like they don't care if they get knocked out. They're just going to sit in the center and just throw. Like I love guys like that. I mean, Sadiq Youssef, a lot of people high on him. Potential there. Bryce Mitchell. I'm not out. I like Bryce Mitchell, but he needs to fight. He needs to fight better competition.
I'm out on Bryce Mitchell. I don't see him taking down or getting these top 10 fighters in any triangles. I think he struggles in that department.
I would say I love Edson Barboza, one of my favorite fighters, and I love him at 45. Do I think he becomes a champ? Probably not, but I think that he could. There's some really good matchups there.
Oh yeah, I'd love to see him. I'd love to see him fight these guys. I mean, and then Shane Burgos, I've been really high on. I'm not gonna lie, I really like Shane Burgos. There's some things defensively that he has to clean up. I mean, I think he just likes getting hit a little bit too much, but the dude's fucking huge.
Yeah,
he has good wrestling and he has good head movement in boxing, but he just can't get it done. But future champions of this division, I love 50K Ige, but I don't think he'll ever be a champion. I think he'll be a top 5 fighter though. He's great to watch. But I'd say that top three. Max Holloway, he's already been a champion. He'll be champion again. Brian Ortega, and then Zabit Magomed-Shapirov. I think the fight to make that would just be insane would be Zabit versus Max in a 5-round main event. That's the biggest test that you can give Zabit right there. Give him someone that has 5 rounds of cardio. You know, I don't know. Zabit, I think, is unbeatable if he can fix his cardio issues, though. I don't think it's close.
Just massive, dude.
Yeah,
such a big dude for that division.
And it's unfortunate that he hasn't been able to fight anyone. You know,
yeah,
like he hasn't been able to get a fight. I mean, he beat Calvin Kattar his last time out when Calvin Kattar was on a win streak, and he did it pretty easily up until that last round when he tired out again. He's got to fix that cardio issue. Also, his younger brother got signed to Bellator, by the way, and I was really pissed about it because his younger brother's going to be insane. His younger brother apparently is going to be better than him, which is crazy. But yeah,
the other name is Evlovet. I can't pronounce the fucking last name.
Malzar Evloev.
He's pretty good. I mean, he's young yet, but he's pretty solid. So
these two divisions, bantamweight and featherweight, just stacked top to bottom. Yeah. Go to lightweight. They fixed the rankings now, so there's no Khabib. John Jones is number 1 pound for pound, which he always has been. By the way.
Yeah. I mean, we kind of covered this already. I mean,
yeah.
In yesterday's show, so we don't have to go too much into depth. I mean, there's no prospect. Islam Makhachev. That's the guy. That's the guy that future champ. I mean, Dustin Poirier could easily claim the belt by the end of the year.
Yeah.
You know, Charles Oliveira or Michael Chandler are going to be the champ, you know, after their next fight. Tony Ferguson out. He won't be a champ.
No.
If Conor was to be motivated, I think he could, but I don't see Conor. I've been saying, like, I feel like since Conor's made all this money, he doesn't have the same passion he did prior.
No.
I think if we had a true passionate Conor, I think that there's a shot. But yeah, I would say if we're going to talk about, I think
a motivated, passionate Conor beats Dustin and Justin.
Yeah,
I think he does. I mean, like he already's beaten Dustin. He won the first round against Dustin, and then he just made stupid mistakes because I don't know. But and Dustin's great. No, don't get me wrong. But I mean, the guys that I think Conor would struggle with would be Charles Oliveira and Michael Chandler. I mean, I don't know. We'll have to see though. I mean, if Charles Oliveira gets him down, the fight's gonna be in his favor, you know.
Yeah.
But I feel like people have figured out Conor too. You know, you get
out of that.
You get out of that first round. I mean, he doesn't really hold much threat later on after that. You know, the punches start coming slower, and you just start. He has a pattern that you're able to follow. So I don't know. Yeah, it's 5 out of those top 6 fighters that have a chance to take it. It's just gonna come to
with Islam Makhachev.
Yeah, with Islam until Islam is ready. In my opinion, I mean, like I think Islam. If he's
2022,
if the stories from the training room about Islam Makhachev are true, he's going to take over everyone.
I wasn't all in on Makhachev, but that performance against Drew Dober was ridiculous. Like that was kind of what I needed to see. Now I need to see like him versus RDA, and then I
don't know why RDA wants to fight Justin Gaethje. I mean, I get it; he's ranked above, but I think he's just trying to avoid that Makhachev fight, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He's even just like, I'll fight you, but if I get to fight Khabib after, like, bro.
The other issue with Makhachev is he's severely inactive. So, like, that could be the one and only time we see him in 2021.
Exactly. I mean, he's Ramadan's coming up. Like, it's tough. And then welterweight, we got Kamaru Usman as the champion.
I don't see another future champion. He is the future champion.
I mean, well, you have some. Okay, so you have Leon Edwards. I just don't think he's improved wrestling wise enough to get off the cage or get Kamaru Usman off of him. I mean, you never know. He could catch him with some stuff. Jorge Masvidal, I think he 50-45s him again or finishes him on the ground. I don't know. Colby Covington, I think now you see an earlier stoppage with Kamaru Usman working with Trevor Whitman. Gilbert Burns, we already saw what happened. He knocked him out. Stephen Thompson, I agree with you, Zach. And I think a cool story, bro, agrees with you too, that Stephen Thompson is the guy that presents the most challenges for him, especially on the feet. I just question if he can get off the cage, kind of like Leon Edwards. Can you get him off of you?
One Usman bomb, I think, is all it would take against Thompson. I mean, we already saw him get knocked out against Pettis. Like, I feel like one big bomb from Usman, especially now that he's improved his striking, that'd be it for Wonder Boy.
Nathan Jones just said, with Tatiana Suarez. Tatiana Suarez is a 115. Oh,
I like this guy.
Yeah. I mean, also you have Hamzat in this division. We don't know yet. You haven't seen him fight anyone special at all. I think you give him
talking about Gerald Mearshart, dude.
Yeah. I think you give him Neil Magny next. I mean, say Hamzat goes in there and just ragdolls Neil Magny and gets him out of there quick and just beats on him the whole time. Yeah, I could see him giving Kamaru some problems. But the problem is Kamaru can fucking wrestle. And now you're training with a guy who develops hands. Just straight up I mean, he turned Rose Namajunas from being like a kicker and a jiu-jitsu practitioner into like one of the best boxers in all of female MMA. Like, I don't know. It's tough. I think the longer that Usman works with Whitman, the better you're going to see, and that's going to be crazy. But yeah.
I really like, and I'm not saying he's going to be a future champ or I don't know, but I really like Sean Brady. His last performance was so good.
He is a freaking huge. He is a tank too.
Yes, like I think that
he's special. I mean, I'd be interested. I want to see him do it against elite competition.
What about him and Hamzat? I know that he's not as high up as what like people want Hamzat like top 5 like ASAP, and I get that. Like he is marketable, but my opinion, like Sean Brady, if he was to go against Sean Brady, who's 14, you know, I think that, and he let's say Hamzat dominated him. That's more than enough that I need to
get
go
like a top 5 matchup.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like I mean, based on what I saw from Sean Brady, his last performance, I mean. I forget who he fought, but he ragdolled the shit out of him the entire time. Crazy strong, and his striking is pretty decent.
So who did he fight last time out?
It was like a week ago.
Yeah, he fought Jake
Matthews, who's is no slouch. I mean, Matthews was kind of on a decent run there.
Yeah.
So I like Sean Brady a lot, and his last name's Brady. I feel like he's just destined for success.
Yeah, I think it's going to take someone outside of this top 5 to beat Kamaru Usman. Because say he beats Thompson. Thompson is the only guy here that he hasn't already beaten. In the top 5, Wonder Boy is the only guy that he hasn't already beaten.
Before you know it, we'll see. Like if he was to beat Thompson, it'd be like I think then it's Leon Edwards, and then outside of that,
I think Leon
we're gonna see 1 versus 6. Oh, we'll see Usman versus Michael Chiesa. It'll just be one of those like earning your paychecks. I love Michael Chiesa, but he's not beating Kamaru.
He's not beating Kamaru Usman. No, and I think he looks great at 170. I love him at 170, way more than I did at lightweight. But I mean, his whole game plan is flowing jiu-jitsu wise. Like it's not happening against Usman. If Usman wants to keep it on the feet and start you, he's gonna do it. Like you're not gonna get him down.
Yeah.
Middleweight. So we got Israel Adesanya. I mean, Robert Whittaker is essentially just the perennial #1 contender. Like I don't think. I mean, he's beaten damn near everybody except for Paulo Costa, and now he's going to fight Kelvin Gastelum, who he was supposed to fight in a title matchup, but it ended up falling through, and now Kelvin's lost 3 out of his last 4. So I don't know. We'll see what he looks like. I like that Whittaker's being active though. He's not afraid. Like if you really like, Max Holloway says this, if you really believe you're number 1 in the division, why would you be afraid to take fights? Like take them. Like nobody. If you really believe that you're number 1, nobody's going to beat you anyway. So I love that mentality from Max Holloway. But I still think it's Izzy's division.
I like Marvin Vettori a lot.
I like Marvin Vettori as well. But I think he fought Izzy early on. I mean,
I agree.
The amount of improvement that you saw from Izzy between that fight and then the Brad Tavares fight, where nobody's gotten him down since that Marvin Vettori fight. Nobody like outside of Blachowicz, who's 220 pounds of the cage, you know?
Yeah.
But I mean, I think Izzy showed some weaknesses though. He likes to lean back and counter whenever he's in the pocket. And if you can do that, you can duck under and grab his legs just like Jan did. I like Vettori in that division. He's got to get past some guys to get that shot though. I mean, Darren Till's a tough out. That's a tough out.
And I'm a huge Darren Till fan. Like Darren Till is one of my favorite fighters just because he's hilarious. So you know, I'm rooting for Till. I just think Till is a poor man's Izzy when it comes to striking. I think that Izzy
he's a poor man's Connor is what he is when it
same
comes to
style.
Striking. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, John Jones has already beaten guys as tall as him. I mean, worked Gustafsson in a rematch. I think it's just a question of motivation.
This guy does not like John Jones.
Yeah, he does not like John Jones.
It's because they share a last name. Who's the better Jones?
No, it comes down to tools. But I mean, I think it's Robert Whittaker has a chance to beat Izzy. I think he does. I mean, Robert Whittaker's just that tough. I mean, we've already seen it. We've already seen Whittaker be knocked out, but he's improved. You know,
And
like he just continues getting better.
First time around for Whitaker was he was just coming back, and a lot of people think he came back too quick. So
Exactly.
I think we've seen a better Robert Whitaker since that Izzy fight.
Yeah. I think that's a great match. I still think Izzy wins just because it's tough for anyone to stand with dude, especially at 185. I think it's tough. But I think he at middleweight, that's a size thing. Like he's actually as big as these guys are. So it's going to be really tough to get him down and hold him down as well. You know?
Yeah, I agree.
Vettori, I think he works Vettori, especially since he's going to be as motivated as ever to beat Vettori after talking heaps of shit. And every time you see someone talk heaps of shit against Izzy, they get worked. Like they get starched.
I feel like he's kind of like John in that way. Like he's a guy that kind of needs that motivation, and like a motivated, I'm not saying he's bored yet, but like a motivated Izzy, like Paulo Costa. Yeah. He made him look awful. And I mean, Paulo Costa is not shitty by any means, but I mean, he just absolutely destroyed him. So no, I think Izzy is kind of in a similar boat as Usman. I think that both of those guys we can see be champ for quite a while.
Yeah, definitely. I just think the only people with a chance in this division, I really don't think Vettori has much of a chance to win the belt. Even if he, I don't see you see Vettori beating Whitaker. Fuck no. No. You know, I think Vettori would have a heap of trouble with Jared.
I think Vettori actually matches up better with Izzy than he would Whitaker, only based on the wrestling.
100%. He matches up better with Izzy than he does. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, Whitaker can wrestle.
I think Jared Cannonier matches up better with Izzy than he does against like Robert Whitaker. But we'll have to see. I mean, these guys are good. It's just I don't see anyone beating Izzy anytime soon. That's just how I feel at 185. I just don't see anyone beating him. At light heavyweight, we got Jan as the champion. Glover's not going to beat him. If he does, I would be flabbergasted. But I'd also love it because everyone would shut up about Jan being like scaring off John Jones. Imagine that narrative.
Yeah, oh my God.
The stupidest narrative
when people
I've ever
say
heard
that, I'm like, what are you talking about? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. It doesn't. But
the two guys that I kind of have circled in this division is Jerry Prochazka and Magomed Ankalaev.
Yeah,
those two are.
Yuri Ferguson is what my friends like to call because he headbutts punches and ankle picks. I think he's a problem. I think the winner of that fight with him and Dominic Reyes, that'll be interesting. I'd love to see Dominic Reyes get another shot at Jan. I don't think he was in the right headspace for that matchup. I mean, dude kind of already thought he won the belt. You kind of already thought he was champion. Also,
and Rakic,
I think Rakic, he's too timid for me. But then again, he's a tough out. He's a tough out. I see Jan beating a lot of these guys though. Until if Prochazka gets past Reyes, I see him dominating the division. I'm not gonna lie. I don't see anyone beating him. Ankalaev I like, but I don't know. I just don't see it. Especially after his last matchup, I just don't see it. I think it's Jan's division right now. I think if John Jones wanted to drop back down, which I don't think he ever will, honestly, which is a crazy thought.
Me neither. I don't think he will either.
You
don't put on all that weight and then just to cut it all. I mean, he's really taking the move to heavyweight pretty serious.
Exactly.
I don't see him moving.
I mean, I think John would have beaten all these guys regardless. A motivated John Jones would have, but
I also got to say Jimmy Crute. Jimmy Crute's a guy I love. I love Jimmy Crute.
I like Jim Crute. He's entertaining. He has some flaws though that I think will get exposed against the top of the division. But then again, this division's just shallow. I'm not like
agreed.
I mean, like any of these guys can go out and have an absolute stinker of a performance, and it wouldn't surprise me. Even Jan. Like I'm high on Jan. I think he's solid. Him beating Reyes wasn't something that I expected. But then again, you beat a dude that was 8-1 in the UFC, or 8-1, 9-1 in his MMA career, something like that. Or no, how many?
He was like 11-1,
something like that.
He was undefeated prior to fighting.
Yeah, prior to fighting.
John. No, sorry. Yeah, John,
prior to fighting John, and then you beat Izzy, who was drastically outmatched size wise. I still think he's good though. Yeah, he's not a light heavyweight. He's a middleweight through and through. Izzy could even make 170. No, not like he could make 170 if he wanted to.
That would be crazy.
Yeah, that'd be. He's not gonna happen. He loves Usman. I'm tired of the Izzy versus John talk though. That's nothing.
I don't think that fight's gonna ever happen.
No, but yeah, at light heavyweight, I think it's just Jan's division right now. unless Yuri beats Dominic Reyes. If he goes out there and he beats Dominic Reyes in impressive fashion, I think he beats everyone in the division. And that'll be a fight that I want to see John against. An athletic big guy that moves his head. Like, shit, why not? Heavyweight. Okay, so right now we got Stipe versus Francis Ngannou. I mean,
it's just going to be Francis and Cyril fighting each other. Well, I guess you got to add John Jones.
You got John Jones in there. So
it's going to be because Stipe is going to retire soon. It's going to be Francis, John Jones, and Cyril Gane, and they're just going to fight each other. It's going to be like an revolving door. There's so much higher than everyone else in the heavyweight division. I mean, I think Cyril Gane has all the tools to be a dominant champion. And I know a lot of people are just like, he had a boring last fight. I'm like, dude, when do you see a heavyweight go in there for 5 rounds and not get touched and put on a masterclass like that? Yeah.
When have you seen a heavyweight come in and win 5 straight fights and not be touched while also moving and like kicking, punching, doing everything? I don't know.
I really like Tom Aspinall, but he's young yet. He's got a lot to do yet.
Yeah. I mean, I like Tom Aspinall, but then I love Tom Aspinall. Do you see him do you see him getting by a guy like Francis Ngannou?
Probably not. I could see honestly I think they could move Tom Aspinall up though. Like he could fight who's 6th there. I can't read that. Jairzinho.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't even hate him against Jairzinho.
I'd love to see that fight. That'd be a good
fight Jairzinho. You know, I think that Aspinall's a top 5 potential, but at the end of the day, I think it's going to be literally Francis, John, and Cyril Gane. That's it.
And I think it's matchups wise. So I think John has a better chance of beating Stipe or Francis than he does Cyril Gane. I've been saying this forever. And I know a lot of people are just like, Gane will get swept by Lewis, so he'll win the whole fight and then get swept. I see that fight going the exact same as a Rosenstrike or even more dominant for Gane. I don't see anyone.
He has 7 fights and we haven't seen one flaw.
None. I mean, he fought 6 times in Muay Thai and beat a world champion. Like he's a 6'5" guy who's huge. And he's quick. Like he's faster than anyone in the division too, you know? He's one of the fastest guys in the division. He's also one of the bigger guys in the division. And he's also the most technical guy in the division. That's a lot to deal with. I mean, we haven't seen him against a legitimate wrestling threat like a Curtis Blades, but it's a lot of athleticism to get down, you know? Like it's tough. I mean, I think if Francis is patient, he takes out Stipe and he becomes champion. And I think he's a tough out for anyone, even Gane. I mean,
he's just one punch and the fight's over.
He's one punch away from putting anyone out. I think Gane will manage distance well and do a pretty good job though. John, I think beats Stipe. Francis, I don't know. And I know a lot of people think opposite. They're like, oh, John will just take him down. You don't just take down Francis Ngannou. You know, he's fucking huge. Like he's a hard guy to get down. As much as everyone doesn't want to believe that, there's a reason he beat Curtis Blades in a fight that went 2 full rounds. And Curtis couldn't get him down not one time. Like, I don't know. That's tough. But it's a revolving door. Gane and Ngannou and John after Stipe leaves. Or Stipe loses. I mean, we'll see. If Stipe loses, I want him versus Gane if he still wants to stick around. If Stipe loses, I think he retires.
Yeah, I think the only way he would stick around is if he got an immediate rematch, maybe for the belt again. But even so, like, I mean, he's got nothing else to prove. I mean, he's already beaten Francis once.
Part of me really wants to see him win this fight though, so we can see an all-time greats matchup. Like him versus John would be insane, and I think John would work him. I'm not gonna lie. That's
listen. Right. John Jones is my favorite fighter of all time. So
mine too. So people watching, take out my fanboy context. I understand I'm like a John Jones fanboy, but then again, he's got the resume and the he has everything to back it up.
The thing that pisses me off when everyone brings up the PEDs, like look at all the dudes he beat that were also on PEDs. Yeah. Like
also, this is the funny thing to me. I definitely think he was on something whenever he gained weight to like before that OSP fight. I think that's whenever some stuff was in his system. But I mean, if USADA comes out and says that there wasn't intentional use for any other fighter, it's not a big deal. You know? They said it for Sean O'Malley, and it was like, damn, they ruined that kid's career. He got a 2-year suspension for pulsing just like John Jones was. You know, it's up and down. But at the same time, you still pissed hot. You had something in your system at some point. So I understand. And I will go to the women's divisions. We got women's strawweight. This is the best division in women's MMA. It's so fun to watch. Weili Zhang insane. Joanna, insane. Rose, insane. And she's not listed here, but I think the only other girl with a chance to win a title would be Tatiana Suarez, which you just don't know about Tatiana Suarez because she's been injured and inactive, and it's tough. You don't know what she's going to come back and look like. Weili Zhang is a really tough out for anyone.
She's awesome.
Yeah, she's got cardio to match. And that's the thing about Rose. I think Rose with cardio beats any of these girls. She's that much of a technical striker, but she has 2 good rounds in her, and then you start to see things slow down. You saw it in that second Joanna fight, and also you saw it towards the tail end of that first Jessica Andrade fight, and then the second Andrade fight.
One, she got pieced up pretty good.
She got tired. I'm trying to tell people she doesn't have the cardio to last. That's a very energy taxing style that she has. I'm very interested to see her versus Weili Zhang, but Weili Zhang is tough. She's tough. I'm going Weili. Yeah, I'm going Weili. Oh yeah, Yan Xiaonan. She's a dark horse. I haven't really seen much of her, and she's ranked number 3. She'll have a chance there too. Joanna, I think Joanna's damn near uncrowned champ right now. I mean, I think she beats.
Man, that was.
I think she is a razor thin fight with Weili, and she didn't get a rematch for it. That's tough.
That sucks, especially.
I think you see Joanna versus Yan Xiaonan will be interesting. Tatiana Suarez, though, I love some Tatiana Suarez. I'm not gonna lie. But she's injured now. It's tough. It's really tough. Weili has all the tools, and she's very well rounded. She can wrestle. She can do everything right. But I think there's some people with skill sets in there that'll give her some serious problems. Like I think Rose early will give her a lot of problems, especially with her kickboxing. But if that fight goes past 2 rounds, Weili's probably going to finish her. I'm not going to lie. She'll probably finish her late. Tatiana Suarez, once again, though, like you're talking about someone with Khabib level, like grappling ability. You just haven't been like, I mean, last time out, what did she do? She ragdolled Carla Esparza, like just completely dominated her. I remember we were at that fight. It wasn't even close. It wasn't even competitive. She just took it. And Carla Esparza is a wrestler, you know? I mean, granted, she's a small wrestler, but she's a wrestler. Like, I don't know. We'll see whenever she comes back. If she comes back healthy, and there's too many what ifs with her. But I think she could dominate the division if she could come back healthy and actually get these girls down to the ground. 125, Valentina.
That's it.
Anyway, I mean, Jessica Andrade is there, but no. And then 145, Amanda.
Nunes.
Oh yeah. Also, what's her name? Amanda Lemos. She fought 2 weeks ago. I don't know what if she's at 115 or at 125, but she fights just like Davison Figueiredo as a woman and dropped a girl with a jab. I mean,
I remember. Yeah,
I think she could possibly contend, and she dropped down a couple weight classes as well. Yeah, she's at straw weight. She's at straw. I'm telling you, that girl right there would mess up everyone 15 through 4. I honestly believe that because she used to fight at 135. Her only loss is to Leslie Smith, who was huge and essentially zombie walked her down. Now she's been training. She took off 2 years because she popped for USADA, which I love. You know, just give me all the juice. And she gives a lot of these girls issues. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
I think she's the true dark horse at strawweight. Keep an eye out for that name, Amanda Lemos. She might take over. And at 135, it's Amanda.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. That was very long, but yeah, that's pretty much it.
Those are your future champions. We did have a question. We can. That's it for that. Do you see new divisions being added in the future? I don't. I think the UFC is pretty set in their ways. Also, the more divisions you have, got to add more fighters. It's just not. I don't think it's practical for the UFC to do that. I mean, it's not like boxing. There's way more boxers in the world than there are MMA athletes. I think that you can get away with it in boxing. I think in the UFC you can really do that.
I think I would be a fan of just creating one more division and doing like a 165, 175. I've always
that is a big jump.
Yeah, I've always said I think the women's divisions. I think after Amanda retires at 135, you can't get rid of that. That was like the main division that they created. I don't know. I think the 3 divisions that they had 3 really solid champions. So they'll just keep it that way. But with the male divisions, 125 I love, 135, 145, 155, all cool. It's above that you start getting some issues. I mean,
Because you
170.
jump from 55 to 70, and then you jump from 70 to 85. So
And
I
then
wouldn't be
from
opposed.
85 to 205. That's 20-pound jump. Like, also, I'd be a fan of a 225-pound weight class because a lot of these guys are too small to be competing at heavyweight. But then again, also you can make the argument like, if you're walking around at 225, you should just fucking cut to 205. You know, like Chris Dawkins is making 205. You know, if he just gets in shape. Shout out to Chris Dawkins. But like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I see them. I would love for them to. They're not going to though.
Yeah. Should weight cutting not be an issue? I mean, I think that's just the way of the sport. Like weight cutting has just always been a thing for wrestling and boxing and it's just always been a part of the sport. And it is super important because, you know, a guy like Sanhagen,
it's more important in this sport than it is in boxing.
Yeah.
You have to cut drastic amounts of weight sometimes, like in order to be competitive in that division. If you have aspirations to be a champion, sometimes you have to cut a good amount of weight. You know, that's just how it is. I mean, you look at I'm trying to figure out. So Israel Adesanya, right? If him going up to 205, that's what you're going to see with a guy going against someone that's outmatched size wise.
Or Max Holloway against Dustin. That was
exactly. Max Holloway against Dustin. Dustin's probably cutting from like 190 as soon as camp starts. You know. And he has muscle mass to fight at 170. You know, you have to have that weight. And if you don't, you're not going to be competitive.
Yeah, I mean, there's just guys that without cutting, like Izzy's as dominant as he is because he is so big for that division. He's strong for that division. You know, he at 205, the power it's not there. And same thing with Max when he went up to fight Dustin. The power just isn't there. It's not that they're shitty. It's just it plays a huge factor into the sport.
Yeah, I mean Davidson's huge for 125.
Yeah.
How do you think he looks at 135? He's middle ranked fighter. Yeah, he's not. Yeah, he's not. He's a middle ranked fighter. He's not. You have to cut drastic amounts of weight in order to be competitive. So I understand people are upset, but there's wrestling in this game. Like if you're outmatched size wise in a grappling contest, you're going to have a bigger challenge in front of you. You know, and unless you're extremely technically proficient, like an Olympic caliber wrestler, like a DC or a Henry Cejudo, then it's not a problem. You know, I mean, look at RDA. RDA even gets thrown down at 170 against some of those guys. You know what I'm saying? Kamaru Usman didn't have an issue with him. You know, it's tough. Leon didn't have an issue with him. You have to be size. You have to be a decent size to compete, especially at the high level.
Yeah, I agree.
Valentina Shevchenko against Amanda Nunes, as she's probably technically better than Amanda is, but she lost. She's going against a girl that's 5'8". Like, it is what it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, size matters.
Honestly, it does. It really does. Oh yeah, I got some questions here from a group chat of mine. So, first question is, would Khabib be dominant at 170?
No. I mean, what do you think he walks around at? Probably what?
He walks around at 200. It's a big boy.
Yeah.
I mean,
how tall is he?
5'10". He's an inch shorter than Kobe Covington. I
mean, the dude did wrestle bears. Like,
yeah. I mean, well, this is the thing.
I don't know about dominate, but
Gilbert Burns at 155. Is he beating Khabib?
No.
But he does at 170, right? It's all the question of like, could he put on the size and retain the stamina?
My thing
if
is,
he could, I think he beats a lot of people.
I feel like there's a reason why he never did move up. Like I don't know. It's tough.
Perfectly built for 155.
Yeah. I don't know. I think
he gives a lot of people issues at that weight class, though.
I feel like if you put like Usman versus like side by side against Khabib at 170,
Usman's fucking huge.
Yeah, I feel like Usman would just he's going to be so much bigger than him. And I do feel like Khabib is one of those guys that could fight someone much larger than him and still somehow win the fight because he's that good. But, you know, like we said, we were just talking about weight classes matter. I feel like he might, I don't know about dominate. I think he'd beat a lot of the 170ers for sure. But I don't know about dominate like the way he wouldn't be dominant. 55.
Yeah. He'd have a size disadvantage. Once again, size does matter. I do think on any given day though he could beat everyone in that division. I think on any given day, I mean, I think he beats Masvidal. I think if he was to come back to 170 right now,
any
he
striker,
beat
he's beating
Masvidal.
them.
Yeah, he beat Masvidal easily, in my opinion. He beat Tyron Woodley. He beat Chiesa. He beat Damian Maia. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, that's tough. It's dudes.
You just got to grab him, though. That's the tough part, is grabbing him.
Yeah, I don't know. See, another question that I got was, let's see. Do you think Khamzat is legit or just the next hype train to be derailed?
I think he's legit. I think he is legit. I mean, you don't just go into the octagon. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, his opponents have been dog shit, but like, you don't just go in and just dominate the way that he dominated. Do I think that?
I think a lot of people take a lot away. They're just like, oh, he fought nobodies. I'm like, but he did what you're supposed to do against nobodies.
And like Reese McKee is not, I mean, he didn't do well in the UFC because he's still really young, but like he doesn't suck. He's young. Like, I think that he was rushed to the UFC.
John Phillips sucks, but
yeah. And Gerald Mearshart is a veteran. I'm not going to say, like, it still makes me laugh that I feel like every time someone fights Gerald Mearshart, they're somehow propelled to the top 10. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But no, I think Khamzat is legit. I think he has all the tools. He can strike. I think he's obviously a massive dude. He can wrestle. I think that he's going to be very good. I mean, I still want to see him against top guys before I make the claim like he's the next champ, but I don't think he's overhyped. Like, I like Johnny Walker to me is like a guy that was overhyped. Like, that is the definition of an overhyped hype train. But Johnny Walker is also one-dimensional. Khamzat, I feel like most fighters, when they're prospects, you have to look at their overall game. Khamzat is not a one-dimensional fighter. He can beat you in multiple different ways, and I feel like that's what separates those type of prospects aside from someone like Sage Northcutt or like Johnny Walker. Those guys were one-dimensional fighters that, unless you're like Conor like level.
Or Khabib level. Yeah, like, but that's the thing about Khamzat. He might be Khabib level one-dimensional. We'll see it against elite competition, but he can knock people out. I mean, I think the upside about for Khamzat is, damn, what if this dude has Khabib level wrestling with one-shot knockout power, and he can do it at 2 divisions?
Yes,
that's a lot, man. That's a lot. Like, say he went in there. This is the thing. Everybody's tune would be changed about him if he could just make that Leon Edwards fight. Say he went in there and dominated Leon Edwards. Imagine. I mean, it'd be insane. I'm picking him against damn near anyone. Damn near anyone. I mean, at 185 and at welterweight, if he went in there and just dominated Leon Edwards, just threw him around, ragdolled him, I mean, I think he beats Usman. Like, it's tough. I don't know.
I think he's legit, but I feel like he definitely needs one more. Like, he needs a bigger opponent than Gerald Mearshart before I can say like for sure. But I don't think he's like an overhyped type train. Like, I think that it's well warranted.
Yeah. Also, I think at 170, I think his upside would be championship level. But honestly, I'm being honest when I say that Kamaru Usman working with Trevor Whitman, the longer that happens and the more invested that he gets, the harder he's going to be to beat. That's extremely tough. He's already huge. Nobody's taken him down in that division yet. Nobody's even come close. And he's hitting pull counters now.
I mean, he's won 2 fights really without wrestling. He beat Burns without wrestling, and he beat Colby without wrestling. I mean, and we know he can wrestle.
He beat Colby before he went to Whitman.
Yeah.
And he's only just getting better. I mean, I don't think he's going to try to stand and strike with Jorge Masvidal. I wouldn't advise.
It's going to be another snoozer.
It's going to be another snoozer. And that's the thing. He's going to beat everyone just like that. I mean, he installed his way to the title anyway.
I hate when people make fun of Usman for being boring. Like, they did the same thing with Woodley. It's all about being smart. When you're the champ, be smart. Do what it takes to win. If you have a clear advantage, like you go back to Montserrat Canejo this past week. If you have a clear advantage in an area, why would you not keep doing that? Like, that doesn't, I mean, the casual fans will sit there and cry about it, but it doesn't make any sense to why would Usman want to stand with George Masvidal? Masvidal, that's the only way that he can win is by striking. At least as of now.
Yeah. That takes me to the next question, which is, after Masvidal gets his toe smashed in again, what matchups does the UFC need to make to clear up the logjam at 170 for Usman's next defense?
I think we already have the next belt. it's either going to be Colby or Leon, whoever wins that fight.
That's what I think it's going to be. It's Colby. They have to make Colby and Leon. I make Gilbert Burns versus Stephen Thompson, and I just get it cleared up right away. That like you make Stephen Thompson versus Burns. Burns is looking for a fight. Thompson's looking for a fight, and you make Leon Edwards versus Colby Covington. These top 5 guys need to fight each other, and I'm getting sick and tired of it not happening. Those are the 2 fights that have to happen.
It is the slowest division, slowest moving division.
It's the slowest moving outside of maybe 145 right now because no one's active. I mean, 145, nobody, like Zabit's not active. Yair's not active. Chansung Jung tried to be active. Calvin Kattar's trying to be active. Josh Emmett's not active. Dan Ige, he just fought. Jeremy Stevens not really active. Arnold Allen is the least active ranked fighter in the history of the UFC. Oh my goodness. But yeah, I mean, you just have to make those 2 matchups. Colby and Leon, the winner of that gets the next title shot. If Colby wins, he's going to get starched by Usman, I think. But I think Leon wins that fight against Colby. That's why I think Colby doesn't want to take it, to be honest with you.
I love Colby.
And if Colby doesn't want to take it, give Leon a shot. I don't care. Give Leon a title shot. He's overdue for one.
I like Colby. I'm not going to say I love Colby. I like Colby, but no, I agree. I agree totally with you. I think, Colby's striking is just shitty. Like, it's just a pressure strike to get the takedown. He punches through.
His defense is punching.
Yeah.
And I think, he'll deal with a lot of problems against someone that can defend those takedowns.
Yeah, I think he struggles against Leon and Usman again. Yeah.
Exactly. If Masvidal could actually defend the takedowns, I think he'd mess Colby up.
But I do think Colby is top 3, though.
Oh, definitely.
I think that, we'll see him and Usman again. Even if it's either if he loses against Leon, obviously it'll be Leon, but I still think we'll eventually see Usman Colby again.
Yeah, I think Burns beats Colby too, to be honest. Burns hits fucking hard. I mean, I think he catches him. Okay, another question is, which MMA fighter or personality would you most want to see in OnlyFans from? I'm going Surreal Gone. Easily.
What UFC personality would I want to see in OnlyFans?
Laura Sanko, if we're talking about personality. Or he's like fighter/personality.
I'm not gonna. Laura Sanko seems like a woman of God. I feel like I would be I'd be really bad if I said that.
Cool Story Bro is going crazy. He's saying Laura Sanko all day. That is his.
Don't get me wrong. Yeah, I mean she's beautiful, but man, that's a tough one. I mean, what the hell's her name? She Mackenzie Dern isn't bad.
Mackenzie Dern's beautiful. Veronica Macedo's beautiful.
I feel like Dern. I feel like Dern, right off the top of my head, would kind of be my answer.
Once again, give me Surreal Gone. I want Surreal Gone. Anyway, that is a large no, but
that would get some viewers.
That would. In France, they'd be going crazy. But yeah, that was all the hypothetical questions I had from the group chat. It's pretty fun.
I mean, we had Nathan Jones in here. I wouldn't say he was asking questions. He was just making statements. Khabib would not lose to Charles Oliveira. I'm sorry.
No, not at all.
Jose Aldo, we already talked about that. John Jones had fought more tall fighters. We already discussed that.
Yeah. Well, let's really have a conversation about John Jones, though.
Let's do it.
I think a lot of people are very upset about John Jones simply because he had 2 close fights. And I think a lot of people discredit him. They're just like, GSP's the GOAT. John Jones had 2 close fights and he almost lost. I'm like, do y'all not forget that GSP got stopped by Matt Serra?
And a close fight against Johnny Hendricks. And
he got stopped by Matt Hughes. I mean, Matt Hughes is an all-time great, but at the same time, and he pretty much lost a fight to Johnny Hendricks.
Yeah.
Like, you really go back and look at GSP's look at his resume. I mean, his best wins are what? Like later on, it was like Carlos Condit was probably his best win.
Mm-hmm.
But you got Matt Hughes, great win, and Carlos Condit. I don't know. I feel like John Jones gets a lot of hate just for being John Jones at the same time.
It's like Tom Brady in football. You know, when you're the best, people hate you. And at the end of the day, like, yeah, John Jones' last 2 fights were close, but we said it in the show. It's a motivation factor for him. Also, like he's so bored.
Yeah, I mean, to make a boxing reference, I think we're seeing the switch in John Jones's style. So I'll actually, this is a perfect reference for me because I think this is what he is in MMA. John Jones is the Floyd Mayweather of MMA. Everyone fucking hates him and wants to see him lose, but he's so damn technically proficient. And every time he has a close fight, he lost, you know? So Floyd Mayweather early on in his career, Pretty Boy Floyd, he used to like give some and take some. Like he used to be really exciting, like back and forth, and he used to stop people. Later on, he shaved his head bald, just like John Jones did, and he started fighting more defensively. And that's what I think you're seeing. I mean, even in that Dominic Reyes fight, he didn't get hit clean too many times. Outside of the early on in that 4th round, I mean, Dominic Reyes is throwing like 12 punch combinations and missing every shot. Mm-hmm. He's a hard guy to hit. Also, I mean, and when John wanted to take it to the ground, he got it there. Also, the Thiago Santos fight, dude fought it smart. Every time that he would close distance, Thiago Santos would start winging hooks. Hooks.
John Jones, for me, man, like, look at how long he's been in the game for now. Since 21. 21. I mean,
yeah, no, it's just 20. Like 20. Like 2008.
20.
Yeah.
So I mean, all right, how long, like, how many fighters have we seen do it for as long as John has at the level that John has? It just doesn't happen. I mean, he is, and eventually your game is going to change. You know, you can't take as much damage as when you're older as you could when you're younger. You're going to change your game plan. You're going to be smarter.
Exactly.
He is, and also, like, everyone that talks about, you know, him being on the juice, whatever, that does not change your fight IQ or your skill set. John Jones has the greatest fight IQ ever.
Yeah.
And it's just he's just on another level, and people hate on it, but it's like people hate Tom Brady, and I always just say he's great. Like, he is he's great, and people just hate his greatness, but he always finds a way to win, and it's the same thing with John Jones.
Yeah. I mean, when people talk about, like, I don't know, I feel like I talk about John Jones till I'm like blue in the face. He's my favorite fighter, but like I feel like whenever we're talking about John Jones, and I say that, like, he likes to beat people at what they're good at. You look at that Daniel Cormier 2 fight. He tried to go in with the same exact strategy that he did the first time and just be in the clinch with him and dominate him at what he's best at. And he started getting hit with some shots, right? That 3rd round, go back and watch the 3rd round where John Jones finishes him. Daniel Cormier could not touch him the whole round. It's literally just add distance and just moving, and then boom, sets up a head kick. Like that, steroids didn't give him a head kick, you know? Like he set that up himself. Yeah, the roofs didn't hit the homers, honestly. I don't know. Also, Gane and Lewis being in the works, I'm super excited about that matchup.
I love Derek. Derek Lewis is one of my favorite fighters too, and I don't like that matchup for him.
I don't either. I mean, but then again, he's dangerous. I mean, he's just one shot away. But I feel
like it could be another snoozer. I feel like we could see another Lewis versus Ngannou kind of with Gane, because Gane's very, very smart, and he's not a guy that's going to put himself in danger, so he could easily kind of fight Derek Lewis just like he fought Jairzinho.
I think this one's going to be a little bit different, and I'll tell you why. It's the kick defense. You saw Curtis Blades putting combos up on Derek Lewis until he got caught with that uppercut when he shot for a takedown. I think Gane utilizes that even more. What Jairzinho Rosenstrike did to slow down the pace wasn't letting him kick. Every time he was in, he was checking it or he was looking to catch. You know, he was blocking a lot of those kicks, so they were pretty much rendered ineffective. I think Ciryl Gane is going to be able to kick Derek Lewis. He's going to be agile. He's going to be able to move in and out while also being so fucking huge. I think
it's
that's
incredible how light on his feet he is, man, for how big he is.
I think that's an easy fight for him, man. I think that's an easy fight for Ciryl Gane.
And I hate saying that.
I like Derek too.
It's crazy. Like, I mean, Derek Lewis had his shot at the belt against DC. I mean, we obviously all knew he wasn't going to win that fight, but I think that his time, and the thing I love about Derek though is he doesn't even care about the belt, man.
No, he just wants to fight.
Yeah, he's all about the money. You know, he's 36, 37 years old. I mean, he's getting closer to the end here. He wants to stack his money while he can. So, you know, it's a good fight for him. It'll probably be a main event. It is either going to be on the main card of a pay-per-view, or it'll be the main event of a fight night.
Yeah.
But a good fight. I think
I want it to be a 3-rounder. I don't want to see Derek Lewis in a 5-round fight.
I personally want to see Ciryl Gane versus Volkov more than I want to see Derek Lewis.
I think that'd be interesting, but I think you kill off a contender, like a serious title threat in that regard. Like, I want to see Derek Lewis fight him. I know, but this is the other thing too. Every time Derek Lewis really goes up against a technically proficient striker, outside of Volkov, where he just caught him late, he kind of gets worked, man.
Yeah.
Like, I think a lot of people forget, but 2 years ago, JDS kind of took it to him, like, bad, like kicks, punches, everything hurt him bad. I think he's one Ciryl Gane teep to the gut away from being hurt. and getting stopped.
I mean, I feel like Derek Lewis would be the first one to tell you that. Like, Derek Lewis is a guy that he literally lets it be known what he's going to try to do. I mean, the whole time going into his fight against Curtis Blades, he made it known what he was going to do. And Curtis Blades still messed that up. Still somehow messed that up. Doesn't Curtis make any sense to me. And I think Curtis Blades has a shot to be like pretty solid. Like, I think he has a shot to fight for the belt.
Yeah.
But the fight IQ, man. Like, he was dominating Derek Lewis in the first round.
Dude, man. Curtis Blades does extremely well until he fights someone with like one shot knockout power.
And he did really good the first round. And then he just blindly shot for a takedown, which I don't even know why, because his game plan in round 1 was working perfect. All he had to do was keep the distance, use the leg kicks.
He could have stood with him the whole time. Like, I'm being honest, Curtis Blades could have stood with Derek Lewis and probably got a stoppage. I'm not gonna lie, he was kind of working him. I mean, the only thing is, Curtis, I feel bad for you, brother, but you are never gonna beat Francis. He owns you. Like, he owns Curtis. First fight, beat the shit out of him, and then second fight, I just remember that fight. I took easy money on Francis Ngannou that fight, because everyone was like, "Oh, Francis can't wrestle. He's gonna get taken down. It's gonna be easy for Curtis." I was like, bruh, just because he got taken down when he was tired against Stipe doesn't mean the dude cannot defend a takedown.
And he's also just much bigger than him. Francis is much bigger, I feel like, than almost anyone in that division.
Yep. I like Cyril Gahn's size against him. I can't wait for John to get in this division. I think we're about to see the heavyweight division blow up. I think John beats Stipe and Ngannou, but he loses to Gahn every time.
I think that's high.
Hey.
Pratama. Thanks for joining, man. Oh,
any
goodness.
Questions?
Any questions?
Just shoot them. We're here to talk about anything.
I got 30 minutes left, so shoot away.
Shoot those shots, if we want to talk
about I'm actually going to take a piss really quick.
Okay, you're fine. I'll keep everybody entertained talking about this here women's flyweight division. No, I don't know. I've just been looking at the contenders at women's flyweight and women's bantamweight, and I just don't see anyone, man, that can give Valentina or Amanda a problem. So I'm really thinking we should get some sort of contenders in this division. I just think Valentina and Amanda have to fight each other over and over and over again. That's the only way that this division is going to be somewhat interesting. It's tough. I mean, GDR, Holly Holm, Aspen Ladd, Arena Aldana. None of these girls are giving Amanda any problems. I mean, maybe Jermaine Durandamy, but who knows? Anyway, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and send them our way. If you guys are watching, you guys can feel more than free to ask us anything. It can be about Fighters Only fans or whatever you guys want to talk about. I was just roasting more women's MMA while you were gone. It was no, I'm playing.
That is what you're good at.
I swear. I think I've just become the residential hater on like women's MMA. It's awful.
I was actually thinking we could actually do something like this. We could actually stream video games, like playing each other in UFC or something like that while talking about it. We can maybe do something like that. I know Josh is all in on playing video games too. So
yeah. UFC
we could do
2,
something like
amazing
that.
At it. UFC 3 and 4, haven't played them yet. Well, I played UFC 3 and I hated it. UFC 4, just I know it's not going to be as good. UFC 2, God tier though. I'm amazing on that one.
Oh, I have UFC 4, but I don't have it for my PC. I'd have to buy it for PC. But
yeah, it's not on PC, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, you could get it off PC.
You can?
Yeah, you can go to the Microsoft store.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So,
yeah, I don't know.
But I might. That's something that we could do. I think that'd be fun. Get more, track a different audience. But I'm all in on the. We sometimes Josh and I and Carrie will stream on Fridays, talk some UFC. So
yeah,
people are all in on that.
Yeah,
people love to watch UFC 4 because I don't know. I mean, UFC video games because I just feel like I suck. Anyone that like I play against, I'm gonna lose. I can beat the computer. That's about it.
Yeah. I understand.
But so cool story, bro. Simping for Laura Sanko. I think a lot of men are.
Thiago Alves fighting GSP when he was on the Acai was a great win. I get it. Yeah. He used to be jacked, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. I want to know who's like your ultimate PED using fighter. Like who's the most unstoppable on PEDs?
I mean, I wouldn't say unstoppable, but Vitor Belfort is like the staple for PEDs.
Yeah. I would love to see Uberine back now that he's cut.
Oh,
I want to see him go to Ryzen and just get freaking.
That was a massive drop down for a little bit after he got off the juice.
Oh no, he looked completely different. It was wild. I want to see him back on the juice.
Yeah, that was he did struggle a little bit. I mean, but he turned it back on, which hats off to him because a lot of guys I feel like we're gonna see it. I think with Dillashaw,
he looks in decent shape. I don't know it just
gotta hate that guy.
I can't stand him either. I mean he's technically still very good. He is, but I think
Zabit on EPO.
Zabit on EPO. Beating everybody. Zabit on EPO is, bro, I'm telling you, Zabit needs to get on EPO. I wouldn't be upset about it. Take that 2-year suspension, but shit on everyone else. Zabit on EPO is giving a lot of problems, man. Oh my goodness.
I mean, they're probably testing for that like hardcore now, though. Like, I feel like one's getting away with that.
Rose
shit.
Namajunas on EPO, giving a bunch of issues.
Give me all the female fighters on EPO. Every single one of them.
Amanda on EPO is killing everybody on the planet.
Amanda on EPO versus a men's 135er.
What man's 135er could she beat?
I mean, there's a few 25ers that she could beat. I know.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think that's more of an accurate. I think it's more of an accurate one. Let's see. Let me see. I don't know. Not any of the ranked ones, obviously. I mean, Jesus. Some of these names on 125's rankings, I don't even know who they are. So, I mean, Amira Albazi, I think Amanda might be able to beat him. I don't know who that is. But I'm telling you, oh yeah. Another question that I didn't ask was how does Zabit fare against the top 3 of the division at featherweight, which is Ortega, Max Holloway, and Volkanovski.
With what you said, if he could figure out his cardio, I think he poses a threat to all of them.
Yeah,
he's just a huge dude for that division. It's the cardio. Like Max, he fights Max. Max is gonna throw a zillion punches for 5 rounds. Will Zabit be able to withstand that, or is he gonna gas out after round 1? Because Max does not put away guys with one punch. He's a guy that it's a just nonstop. By the time you get to round 4 and 5, even then, like Ortega was never knocked out. That was one of those things where he should have been, but it was just he doesn't have the power to knock you out. But the volume he throws,
5th round of that much damage, we would be talking about serious ailments, in my opinion, of Brian Ortega. That's the type of whooping that Max Holloway puts on dudes. I mean, Calvin Kattar after his fight, Brian Ortega after that fight. I really wanted to see Max Holloway like bulk up to fight Dustin Poirier. I think he beat Dustin if he actually bulked up.
He looks like a guy that has a hard time putting on weight.
He does. I mean, like you look at his body in that 155 matchup, it was crazy.
It's like one of your friends. Like growing up, I had a bunch of these friends where like they could go eat whatever they want and just and they're still going to be the same weight. They never just put on any weight.
You actually saw like a body difference from him against who was it? You see a body difference from him against who was it? Jeremy Stevens, when he was on that original run before. Remember that first Brian Ortega fight that he had to pull out because he had the mental issues or whatever. You saw him actually slim down because he used to be a little bit bigger, like at 145. But I think after that he slimmed down to make weight more healthy at 145, and then no. I mean,
I think what I love
the shape that he went in there against, it wasn't that fun.
What I love about Max though is I feel like he's one of those guys.
Look at dude. He wasn't in the best shape possible during that fight.
A little flabby.
Yeah. I wish we would have got to see an optimal Max for that weight class. I mean, I think if Dustin had to drop back down to 145 for that fight, you might have seen something better, but it is what it is. What
I love about Max is I feel like he's a guy that does not take the sport uber serious. I love guys like that. Like he takes it serious, but like he's so invested in things outside of fighting as far as like gaming. Like,
it's not his only thing.
I love the fact that he comes out and he says, I don't want to talk about fighting when, I'm not fighting. Like that.
Yeah.
See, like to the casual fan, they probably hate that because like that's not very marketable. But for me, like when he's in camp, I mean, obviously he's 1,000% invested, but like outside of camp, you can have so many other hobbies and then just come out and just kick the shit out of people. Like that is the coolest thing. Like
exactly.
that's like me, like sitting here playing video games and then I just go outside and I just absolutely work someone that tried to pick a fight with me. I think that would be badass.
I always bring up John Jones, but that's literally what John Jones did at the beginning of his career. Apparently, like he would just go to Albuquerque, do his training camp, then go back up to New York and just chill. And then just hit the bag from time to time.
I mean, it's just sick.
Yeah, it is what it is,
Gifted.
Yeah, just
so John Jones is your number one all-time favorite fighter.
Yes, John Jones is the person that got me into the sport. First ever UFC pay-per-view I watched was 256, like him versus Chael.
My two favorite fighters, and then it's a tie, and you're gonna laugh like this. Everyone laughs, but it's just I don't know what it is, but like I get nervous when they fight, and John is on there. Like John is on my like.
I get so nervous when John fights. It's awful.
If I had to pick a top 4, if I had to pick a top 5, here I'll give you my top 5, and this is like you're gonna laugh. Cowboy and Paul Felder is a tie. I don't know what it is. Love those two guys.
Yeah.
Then it's John. Then it's Max.
Yeah, I'm
and
with you.
Then 5. You ready? You ready for 5?
Yeah.
Cub Swanson, baby.
He's fun. I like Cub Swanson. Cub Swanson's a really likable guy. I like. If I had to rank mine, John's number 1. Izzy's probably number 2. 3 is Max. 4. I mean, Khabib's retired. I really like Khabib. 4, I don't know. I don't know.
It's tough.
It's tough. It's tough. There's a lot. I mean, I really like Jose Aldo. I feel like it's because I just grew up watching. Like Cowboy was like one of those OGs. Paul Felder, not. I mean, he's been around for a while. I love the thing is that with Cowboy, Felder, and Cub Swanson is their fight styles are pretty similar. Like they'll be in a war and they're not afraid to fight. Like that's. Yeah. I think I am naturally just into like those fighters, like just kind of my style. But then John Jones I like because of just pure dominance. Like that's just a totally different. And same thing with Max. I love greatness. That's the biggest thing for me. I love greatness.
You hate Tom Brady.
No, yeah, I absolutely
I've seen your TikToks.
No, I hate Tom Brady. I mean, this is my thing. I feel like yes, Tom Brady is great. 100%. But I mean like greatness in terms of talent. That's why I really like Ciryl Gane. Ciryl Gane's probably going to be, once John leaves or once that fight happens, I think that's when like John's going to pass the torch to Ciryl, to be honest with you. That's like my ideal thing in my head. I never thought I've been telling my friends since the like Izzy and John thing was like going down. I was like, Izzy's not going to beat him. And a lot of people thought he's like, oh yeah, he couldn't take down Dominic Reyes. It's like Dominic Reyes walks around at 235 pounds, built. Like Izzy's walking around at 200. Like Izzy would have got thrown. Like I'm not like go back and watch Daniel Cormier versus Dan Henderson. That's what would have happened to Izzy in that fight.
If Jan would have gotten top mount on Izzy earlier in that fight, it would have been over.
He would have finished.
He would have finished Izzy.
And John, if John wanted to take the fight to the ground early, I mean, I'm telling you this, Izzy wasn't going to go out there and starch John in one punch. No. If John really wanted to get him down to the ground, he would have at any point in that fight. At any point, it would have been rather easy for him too. I'm not gonna lie. I think Izzy and his coach were, and I love Izzy. Izzy's one of my favorite fighters, but that was an extremely delusional way of thinking. Oh, I went up weight classes in boxing and in kickboxing and in Muay Thai. So in MMA, I'm just gonna do the same thing. It's just like there's no grappling involved, and I think that's just a lack of understanding from their perspective. It's like yes, standing wise, you could beat him. You could beat him if it was a kickboxing match, but it's not. It's MMA. It's not just kickboxing with little gloves. Hi, Melly. How are you, friends?
Howdy.
How you doing? My friends are good. No, but
I don't have any friends actually.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, I don't know. I'd say John is up there though. I love John. John's amazing. I don't know who Spencer Fisher is.
Fedor GSP Rampage. Some fighter named Spencer Fisher got me into the sport.
Yeah, that's a question for you. Where do you think Fedor ranks amongst the greatest heavyweights of all time? Because I think him and
Stipe's number one
right
for me.
there.
I think
Okay,
Stipe's number one for
the
me.
only reason why I have Stipe above Fedor is Stipe would beat the shit out of Fedor. Like in my opinion, like Stipe, I think Daniel Cormier was a more evolved version of Fedor in this day and age, and I think Stipe would wash him. You know, if Stipe was able to beat Daniel Cormier, I think he would have been able to beat Fedor. Like DC does everything that Fedor does, but better.
Jeez, Ali.
Oh my God, he's going. He's going crazy.
This is one that I'll block.
Like,
good Lord.
Oh my God, this is crazy. And Facebook is just wilding, huh?
Yeah.
Oh my God, Rothwell, and Rothwell are your top 5. Ben Rothwell.
Oh, that's my buddy Zach.
Yeah,
and he looks just like Ben Rothwell.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, they're basically twins. I mean,
Does
Ben
he live in
Rothwell
Wisconsin
is
too?
no, Ben Rothwell is much larger than him, but
yeah.
he is no, they look like in the face pretty similar.
Yeah.
I think
a prime Fedor is the only old era fighter that can be competitive against the elite. I think a prime Anderson would be. Oh no, there's so many good wrestlers now. There's so many. Yeah, because Chris Weidman was already going to beat him in the tail end of his prime.
That's tough.
That might not be wrong though. He's extreme. I mean, I think GSP competes. Like I think GSP would beat. GSP might be able to beat Colby Covington.
Like right now or right now?
No, not right now. I mean, like back a prime GSP might be able to beat Colby Covington. I mean, dude can wrestle his ass off.
It's just game. The fight game is so much different now.
It's so much more evolved. That's the thing about Fedor. It's like Fedor. Yeah, he beat a lot of elite heavyweights, right? He beat a lot. He beat Arlovsky. But then again, like a prime Fedor against Stipe. No, he's not winning that one. Prime Fedor against Francis, he's not winning. Prime Fedor against Derek Lewis, he might. Prime Fedor against Curtis Blades, he's losing. I'm sorry. Prime Fedor against Cyril Gane, he gets fucking destroyed. Volkov, it's too much for him. Like, these guys are a little too well-rounded now. That's like the top 5 of the heavyweight division.
I love how the UFC did they have different portions of the Hall of Fame. Like, you have the Pioneer, you have the, I love that. I think that is perfect because, like, Chuck Liddell is not beating anyone in the UFC. Like, prime Chuck Liddell, I don't think is beating anybody in the UFC currently. Like, so I think that having like a Pioneer section along with the rest of, like, I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
We got who are top prospects to watch. I mean, anyone.
He's
Russian.
Taking prime Fedor against everyone except Ngannou. Oh, yeah. Who are your top prospects to watch? Sorry.
Any Russian. Anybody that's Russian. Yeah.
I like. Okay, so. For the women's, I like Amanda Lemos and Tatiana Suarez if she's still a prospect, you know. Heavyweight, I don't think he's a prospect anymore because he's ranked in the top 5, but Cyril Gane.
Tom Aspinall would be my only other prospect.
Tom Aspinall's a pretty good prospect.
Heavyweight.
Yeah.
Light heavyweight, Jiri.
Yeah, Jiri.
He's ranked top 5.
185, nobody. 170 has got to be Hamzat, maybe. 155, there's not anyone that's going to beat these elite. These guys are so much, and they're all like veterans, but they're young veterans. Like all these dudes are like 32, you know. Like Michael Chandler's like the oldest one. He's like 34.
I would say 55. Sean Brady is like the one younger guy that possibly could be decent.
That's a 170.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, 170. Yeah. Featherweight, shit. I mean, Zabit's not a prospect anymore. He's nobody really. Yeah, Movsar Evloev maybe.
Yeah, he's not bad, but he's got a ways to go.
Yeah. 135, Kyler Phillips, and I like Sean O'Malley. I like those two a lot. Flyweight.
Umar. Oh, we forgot about Umar.
Umar. I forgot about
really
Umar.
Good.
Yeah. Well, Usman Nurmagomedov is in Bellator. And then Hassan Magomed-Shapirov, he's Khabib's younger brother in Bellator. He's gonna be. I'm telling you, watch out for this kid. I hope he only takes like one contract with Bellator, and then he comes over to the UFC because kid is special, like really good. I don't know. AJ McKee too over in Bellator. Bellator has a lot of young prospects, man.
Yeah.
It's still not watching.
Bad. Yeah. Well, we also who is the dude that Mike Davis just fought? He's supposed to be a prospect too. He lost to Mike Davis, but he was
Mike. Oh yeah, Mike Davis is another prospect that I like. I like Mike.
We interviewed him a couple weeks ago.
I like it.
Who did he just lose to, or he just beat? He was he was like the double champ in Cage
Mason
Warriors.
Jones.
Yes, and a lot of people like him, which
Mason
I think
Jones
he's pretty good. So that's another name to watch out for. I mean, that fight against Mike Davis was insane. Like already a potential fight of the year candidate. Like it was really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, freaking Mike Davis's 2 losses are Sadiq Youssef in the contendership. I mean, Gilbert Sadiq Youssef, I think it'd be good, and Gilbert Burns. That's tough, man.
Dude, his boxing is crazy.
And Mike Davis is insane. And the crazy thing is he got outboxed by Sadiq Youssef. Sadiq Youssef got, I mean, shit. I don't know. We'll see. I didn't like his last fight though. Sadiq Youssef's last fight. He didn't look that good. I forgot who he fought, but I would love another Nigerian champion. I think that'd be freaking hilarious. Yeah, he fought Andre Feely, and he kind of looked.
Feely's tough though, man.
He's a tough out for anyone.
I love Andre Feely. Like that fight again. I was picking him against Bryce Mitchell. Call me crazy. I thought that his striking. I thought overall,
I'm not high on Bryce Mitchell at all. To be honest with you, I'm not.
I thought overall that Andre Feely was going to be a better mixed martial artist. He just couldn't stop the takedown. He was really good when he was on the ground. Like he was very good at escaping subs, trying to throw up subs. He just had a really hard time taking or stopping the takedown. I think if he would have stopped the takedowns, I think that he might have actually beat Bryce Mitchell.
Yeah. I'm still stuck on this. I'm taking Prime Fedor against everyone except Ngannou. I'm sorry. To put it this way, I'm taking a Prime DC over Fedor every time. Every time.
DC was a savage, dude.
If Fedor is getting thrown by Kevin Randleman, DC's ragdolling him, bro.
Well,
I like Fedor's wrestling, but
I hated DC like when I was like a John Jones fan. I was like, man, I hate DC. Like, can't stand DC.
I couldn't stand him early on, but I love him now.
But great. Now, like, I look back and I'm like, you know what, dude? Like, the dude, he loves the sport. Like, to see how broken he was from that loss to John, like,
he's a competitor, man.
Yeah. So, and you know, he doing MMA into your 40s, like at that level, insane. So yeah, I love DC.
Yeah, Stipe is beating Fedor in my opinion rather easily. I think Fedor might be able to beat Derek Lewis. I'll be honest. Cyril Gane, come on, bro. You think Fedor's beating Cyril Gane? Like what path does he take to beat Cyril Gane? I don't know. I think Cyril Gane might be on his way to being a pound.
Give me Chris Dawkins over Fedor.
Chris Dawkins. Oh my. Yeah, I mean, no, I'm playing. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean,
the sport is passed so far. I
feel like the fighters, if anything, are just so much more athletic now than they ever have been.
Yeah, and also they're way more well-rounded. Like I like Prime Fedor, but no.
Yeah, I mean, Tom Aspinall, a guy, literally has a black belt. BJJ gets a sub his last fight. Like he doesn't really use it often, but it's there.
Yeah,
you know, back in the day, how many heavyweights had a black belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu? Probably not many.
Man, I don't know. I like Fedor. I mean, Randleman's great, but he had he was on the sugar water, 100%, 100%. But at the same time, DC was an Olympic wrestler. Like, dude came in fourth in the Olympics. Like, I don't know. Also, he's black. He's got that athleticism in there somewhere. You know, I'm taking it. I think DC was a more well-rounded, newer version of Fedor, to be honest. Which I think Fedor's great. I think he beats a lot of these guys. A Prime Fedor does, but no, I don't think he beats me.
I agree. All right, man. Well, I got to get back to work here in a couple minutes. But it was a lot of fun. This is something I think we should definitely do more often. Do a nice, especially on Saturdays or Mondays, if we get questions. Maybe we do an impromptu live stream and talk some MMA. But
there we go.
Always fun, guys. Make sure you go subscribe to our YouTube channel, Coffee and KOs podcast. Oh my God, I almost messed that up. And make sure you go follow us on Instagram as well, Coffee and KOs 1. We'll leave you with DC equals Black Fedor
Amelia Negro.
And there you have it. We will leave you with that. God. Take it easy, everyone.